And all of you who are in the world of social work must know that Flexner's lecture 100 years ago, right, in 1915, in the National Conference on Charities and Correction, Abraham Flexner critically outlines his perception and questions, question the emerging status of social work as a legitimate profession. So, his speech really consists of three parts. Once he argued that as a profession, the social work needs to possess an exclusive body of knowledge that is exclusive to the social work domain. And also, as social work workers, we need to have control skills, right, required through advanced education and training programs. And also, as a profession, social work needs to foster a distinct subculture marked by common identity and values, right? So those are really the core value upheld by social work, for the previous 100 years plus. And then let's talk about social work dedications, right? So many of you who have been working in the field of social work for many years and doing practices or research or education, we all know that the dedication social work really distinguishes us from other professions. For example, we focus on enhancing individual and community well-being. And our values are grounded in empowerment, social justice, dignity, integrity, human relationships, and services. And as a profession, we aim to foster positive change and address societal challenges, right? So social work probably is the only one profession that advocate not only serving the people, but also advocating for the interests of the clients that we serve. But then there is some really interesting contrast and comparison between social work and artificial intelligence, right? So on the one hand, social work focuses on human being, right? The human value stayed at the center of social work philosophy. On the other hand, well, artificial intelligence by definition involves machine, right? Because it's not real human being, is the intelligence is produced and maintained in the machine, right? So we have one side of human-centered values, the other side on a complete focus on machine. And in terms of the social values that social work really held, it has a lot of emphasis on focusing on the individual values, right? The personal dignity. On the other hand, really the why we really adopt AI, that is because we focus on economics of scale, right? We know that if we can automate, if we can exercise the human level cognitive capacity at a large scale, we are going to gain economically and we are going to save cost, right? So the AI is very much built on the model of economics of scale, which seems to contradict with the social values upheld by social work. And the third is about caring, right? Because social work is a caring profession, right? We deeply care about the clients, care about their health, their well-being, their mental status, their financial health, right, etc. On the other hand, well, AI is closely related to automation, right? So there's definitely a distinction between automation and AI that we can talk about later. But really, what we want to do with AI is to automate the cognitive tasks that previously can only be realistically performed by human beings. And finally, social work probably focus on philosophy, right? It's built on sociology and closely related to religion and other philosophical issues. Whereas AI, it has definitely some portion of philosophy, but it's mainly about a new technology, right? AI is recognized as the general purpose technology, such as electricity. right? So as we can see, there are a lot of similarity, but also dramatic differences between social work and AI. So would they go along with each other well, or actually, no, we are combining these two things. We are combining fire and water, and what can result from it is just a conflict. So there is always a debate about whether social work or social work as a profession is a slow adopter of technologies, right? So there are you can argue in both sides, but well, there are some evidence suggesting that social work has a huge emphasis on face-to-face rapport, right? Because that is the way we serve clients, we serve individuals, right? Rather than doing that automatically, using automatic AI technology, right? And there's ethical and really privacy dilemmas related to technology, right? And that is a huge concern nowadays with the problems of AI. And also, there are resource constraints, right, in many agencies, preventing people from adopting new technologies in the domain of social work, right? Many social workers may not have the resources, the institutional support to advance AI. And also, there is pervasive lack of technological training, right? Think about in the US, right? That we proudly have the most advanced social work research and education, right? But how many of those programs offer artificial intelligence training, right? So that the graduate students can go to the job market, not only serving the clients, but also utilizing those technology and even developing the AI technology to serve the clients at a large scale. And also, there's deep concerns about the accessibility of technology among marginalized client populations, right? As advocates to those disadvantaged client population, a lot of social workers may have deep concern regarding whether the AI is going to create more disparity, preventing people in a disadvantaged position to utilize AI, whereas those already well-off individuals are going to benefit disproportionately from the AI technology, right? So those are potentially aspects that we need to consider and maybe related to the slow adoption of AI in comparison to many other disciplines, such as medicine and engineering. And in the Flexner's speech, if we can summarize his speech into the advocate for the social work specific education and research and practices, then actually we could see some synergy between his speech and AI, right? So in terms of education, we could think of AI-enabled teaching innovation in social work education. In terms of research, we may build and apply a systematic body of knowledge empowered by AI. And in terms of practices, we may enhance self-organization and ethical practice through the utilization of AI. So here, I give full credits to my visiting scholar. So Fang is a visiting scholar in my lab, and she came up with this idea of interpreting and discussing the Flexner's framework from the lens of AI. So I don't take the credit myself, and Fang is really fundamental to inspiring me in this aspect. Okay. Now let's talk about So now let's talk about the opportunities in social work education, where the AI may fit into the role and promote social work education. So I'm going to use a lot of real-world examples, okay? Because they are probably more convincing than talking to the air, what might happen, right? But of course, sometimes we have to we have to adopt a forward-looking perspective and forecast potential future applications because we don't have see any in reality for now. But well, we need to acknowledge that all the forecasting are subject to change, right? We know how terrible human beings are making those predictions. Okay. But anyway, so we've already actually seen a lot of adoptions or early adoption of AI in the social work, education. So, for example, the AI-powered VR decision-making trees. VR stands for the virtual reality. Allow social work students to practice assessments with virtual patients, providing real-time feedback to hone their clinical skills. Okay, so previously, a lot of those VR technologies were built upon decision trees, meaning that at the decision node, the students need to make a decision, know what to do with this patient, right? Do they offer a different resource? Do they talk in much detail, and what kind of techniques the students need to do in certain decision-making point, right? But nowadays, because the boom of the large language models, we can offer a much more realistic type of simulation, allowing the students to talk with the simulated patients or clients in a more natural way. So we will come to that in a minute. Right? So we also see that AI enhanced administrative platform that enable practice in documentation, billing, and referrals. This would addressing the skill gap in new social workers, improving their job readiness. So previous AR systems were built on the social, for example, the Google Daydream, which is just a fancy term of putting your Android phone into a box so that you can put on your head and watch the phone, right? So Google Daydream has been discontinued to my knowledge, but nowadays we have more powerful Meta Quest, right? That is a virtual reality tool device that become very popular in gaming, right? But of course, we could think about the newer VR technology could enable AI-powered social work training programs. And not to say that we are anticipating next year, hopefully early next year in 2024, we are going to have Apple Vision Pro. Right, so many of you probably have watched the demo videos of Apple Vision Pro. As claimed by Apple, it is going to be the very first spatial computing system, which allow you to manipulate apps, to talk to people in virtual reality, and it's different than the previous VR because this is AR, augmented reality, because you can see through the glasses, the Apple Vision glass. And mingle the virtual object with the real object that you see and touch. Right? So we are going to foresee how those fantastic VR and AR tools are going to fundamentally transform how we educate our students and how we simulate the environment to allow our students to interact with clients in a very free, confidential environment. And another tool that came up recently is the Cognitive Trainer. So it is the system was built upon the GPT models, by OpenAI, and the Cognitive Trainer allow tailored AI bots to simulate real therapy sessions. So they have a variety of characters you can choose from, ranging from worried parents to troubled teenagers for a varied practice. And students and trainees can engage in free-flowing conversations that mimic real sessions. And the trainees are also practice rapport building, probing questions, and clinical information gathering. And by the end, the cognitive trainer are going to give you a comprehensive evaluation of how well the student performed in terms of what competencies has been achieved and what the students need to further improve. Okay. And there are many advantages, of course, using cognitive trainer and other simulation tools. For example, students can practice in a safe practice environment because it's simulated. The worst case is that you stop talking to a machine, but you've never doing anything harmful to a real patient, right? You can develop critical therapy skills through interactive learning. And of course, the system is available 24/7 for practice at any time, facilitating continuous learning. And through the simulations, the students may get idea about how to have a engaging and a meaningful conversation with the client. And of course, all the transcripts and evaluation criteria and scores are available for students to further sharpen their skills. And now let's switch gear and talk a little bit about the power of vector database, because I do see that is at least for the foreseeable future, I would say that really open new doors for social work, and of course, not only social work, but many other disciplines. So the idea of vector database means that previously we were worried too much about the hallucination problem in large language modeling, right? The language model tend to provide you coherent but actually fake messages, right? But how to ground the natural language model to provide consistent and correct information, and also allow the system to be linked to many different types of data sets, then the vector database is a solution. Okay. For example, we can leverage the power of large language models such as Llama 2 here, shown here. This beautiful llama is a language model, not a real llama, to be linked to many different types of databases. Doesn't matter whether it's PDF or it is YouTube channel or it is SQL database or on cloud demand or whatever, right? We can use the vector database to build such database so that they can be accessed by the large language models. In this case, the model produces consistent and accurate information because the information is grounded by the data that you provide. And you may ask, what this has to do with social work? Well, if we have this, and we have already this vector database, right? This technology, we can store a huge amount of data, regardless of what type of data is. And then, the vector database is ideal for applications requiring high-speed similarity search and pattern recognition. So we can search for millions of rows of data and free text data and find what we need, and then summarize it or use it at our discretion. Right. So there are different vector database technologies developed. One famous technology application is Python. So Python specializes in storing and querying vector data efficiently. And you can use the Python actually to build your own application that are highly scalable with high performance and capable of handling large scale vector data sets. Okay. So if we could apply this kind of technology, we can build a lot of interesting applications. Okay. So one example would be you can build individual tutors, right, for students. Simulation tools are one of them, but they could be open to many other personal tutoring, right? Consider our students are always at shortage of teaching assistant instructors, right? For a lot of times, students have to work in a silo to try to figure things out. But how cool it is, if every single student has their own personalized, customized tutor, of course, AI tutor, that understand their request, know their strengths and weaknesses, and answer their questions and have a meaningful conversation along the way, 24/7, right? Who won't like this kind of tutor, right? It can greatly expedite the students' learning process. So if 1 year ago we are still considered this is far in the future, may never be realized, but today we have that technology, right? And we could build those tools to greatly facilitate student learning. And then let's talk about opportunities, AI-related opportunities in social work, research, right? So I'll use myself as a personal example. So, well, I consider myself as a proficient programmer because I do a lot of programming, especially in Python and sometimes R and other languages. But, well, I'm not a grandmaster, right? I'm not trained as a software engineer or computer scientist. Uh, but then, no, now I start to use a lot of AI facilitated tools, right? Such as the Microsoft Copilot or the OpenAI Advanced Data Analysis that has been integrated to the ChatGPT Plus version. And I use a variety of AI debugging tools so that now I would say my productivity has been probably tripled, right? So I won't need to spend a lot of time debugging and writing boilerplate codes because they can be easily written by machine, and I just need to verify that they are correct, right? And in terms of long documentation, right? You've probably heard of this TLDR, right? Stand for too long didn't read. It began getting popular and originally probably from the Reddit, the well-known social platform. And now we can use large language model to read even the entire book and summarize the book in, say, 2 paragraphs, in bullet points in a table or whatever you need, right? So this greatly expedite your your understanding and your comprehension of large long documents, right? So you won't have to read them from the front to the back cover. And so some of you who have taken my previous ChatGPT related open classroom sessions know that I have published a book a few months ago called Supercharge Your Research Productivity with ChatGPT, a practical guide. And in that book, my students and I, we experimented with the ChatGPT, especially the GPT-4 model, in facilitating research, right? So we probably wrote maybe up to 1,000 or more prompts and try to figure out what are the boundaries of GPT-4 model in terms of helping out research, right? And in the book, we provided about 100 real-world examples in which we can adopt prompt engineering to allow ChatGPT model to facilitate our research for all 10 phases of research, from identifying research ideas to formulate research hypotheses, to undertake literature review, select research design, develop research instruments, handle data collection, analyzing both qualitative and qualitative data, and drafting research papers, address peer reviews, all the way to study finding dissemination, right? So if you're interested in the book, feel free to have a screenshot and go to link to the Amazon. And if you have the unlimited version for digital reading, you can get the book for free. Okay. And recently, we got funding from OpenAI to conduct a very interesting research. The idea of the research is to use their most recent large language models to semi-automate thematic analysis. So many of you have done qualitative data analysis and know how painful it is, right? So going through hundreds of transcripts and try to hand code everything to summarize their themes using grounded theory or either inductive or deductive framework, it takes months, if not years, right? So we harvested almost 1,000 different transcripts from focus group, from interviews, and we are trying to build this model using the OpenAI framework that allow us to do thematic analysis and grounded theory in a more timely fashion, right? So the reduction in the workload and the time is phenomenal, right? From a year of work to probably a few hours of computation, right? So that is the difference we try to make. But well, stay tuned. It's still in the process. And talking about AI for cognitive behavioral therapy, well, we know they have already been a lot of applications, right? The AI chatbot have made therapy more accessible and less expensive. And one development, the robot by Stanford psychologist, provide CBT sessions offering strategies to cope with negative thought patterns. There are many other chatbots available there for therapeutic purposes. Actually, a year ago, we did a literature review plus evaluation to take a look of the most popular chatbots, including both companion chatbots just for entertainment, as well as for therapeutic chatbots for mental health consultation. Right, and we identify a large number of chatbots and we evaluate their efficiency and the appropriateness in addressing body image related questions. Okay. And if you are interested in the study findings, we can refer you to that later on. Okay, shoot me an email and I'll send you more information about that study. It's really interesting. So the machine learning has been really adopted to a lot of different domains. So here we only give you a few examples to have a taste, right? Say, for example, researchers at the USC develop machine learning algorithm that can predict 80 to 90% accuracy whether someone is suicidal based on their speech patterns, right? So this tool can be really helpful for patients who are at risk of suicide and provide them with appropriate intervention. Sometimes a call can really save people's life. And regarding AI in child welfare, AI-based decision support, or called ADS tools, are increasingly used in public sector agencies to augment human decision-making in high-stake social context. I highly encourage you to read this paper. It's really interesting. It's called Improving Human AI Partnership in Child Welfare, Understanding Worker Practices, Challenges, and Desire for Algorithmic Decision Support. So it's completely online for free, so everyone can take a look. The article talk a lot about how the ADS tools have been adopted to augment human decision making for the child abuse or neglect. So the AI has also been used in tracking domestic violence. Okay, so a recent review article by researchers from Hong Kong Polytechnic University and University of Pittsburgh identified 22 studies that used machine learning to detect obscure changes and predict the likelihood of domestic violence from digital text data, mainly from actually social media data. Okay. So the researchers have concluded that the ML, or machine learning method, has been effective in identifying domestic violence using social media data. So feel free to take a look if you are interested in that study. And also recently, the World Economic Forum published a workshop, hosted a workshop. So the aim of the workshop is to unlock AI opportunities that promote the autonomy, safety, well-being, and dignity of older adults. Okay. So you can search online on this economic forum, and you will be able to see the report. Okay. It's very interesting report, summarizing a lot of emerging AI trends in the aging space. For example, assistive autonomous robots, self-driving vehicles, AI-enhanced heart smart apps, health smart apps, and wearables, voice activated devices, virtual and augmented reality, etc. Right. So it's a very rich workshop and documentation there. And well, many of you might have heard the buzzword about AI pen, right? So for those of you who haven't heard that, definitely watch the demo. It's very cool. Well, but I have to claim that I do not have interest, financial interest in any of the devices and the tools that I introduced today. Okay, so they are completely for your information only. So the AI pen produced by the Human, a startup company that evaluated now at billions of dollars, were originally built by two previous employees from Apple. They are a couple, and they claim that they felt guilty of producing Apple, producing the iPhone because people get hooked, right? People get addicted to the screen. So their idea is to create a screenless AI device that can be with the person, the user all the time, right? And listen to the people and provide assistance if needed. Right? So you can use, there's a small projector that can project the screen onto your hand so that you can use hand gesture to control the machine. It provide large language models linked to OpenAI Chat GPT-4 model to be able to have a conversation with you all the time, right? And it can talk in different languages. If you speak, say, in Spanish, it will be auto translated to English so that the people speak English can understand you, right, in real time. Right? So it has a lot of potential applications, but I would see that this is going to really have profound impact if as the device is as good as advocated to the domain of social work, right? Consider older adults, right? 1 out of 2 older adults, 85 years and older, have dementia, some type of mental impairment, right? Cognitive impairment. And well, consider that an external battery is often used when you do not have internal battery enough to power your cell phone. And then how about using this digital device as an external memory for those who have limited memory capacity, right? If they forget about something, then they will be reminded, right? If I have done something but forget, then the machine has a record and it's going to feed you back, right? So I foresee that AI pen, if successful, are going to have a huge impact in many people, especially for older adults, right? Okay. So AI has been applied in law enforcement, right? And with pros and cons. So a recent interesting application is the AI addressing criminal justice needs. For example, identifying individuals and their actions in video recordings, in DNA analysis, in gunshot detection, in crime forecasting, etc. Right, and we heard a lot of good and bad things from them. Right, so a interesting application AI in human trafficking, and you'll definitely check this out, is called Veritone Tracker. So tools like Veritone Tracker can aid investigators by streamlining the process of tracking individuals and locating crucial information without the use of personalized identifiable information. Right. Previously, a lot of critiques were about, say, face recognition system. Right, it's highly accurate, but well, it makes mistakes sometimes. Right, and it is a breach of of confidentiality. But now we have those new tools like Veritone Tracker that identify individual at a high precision, but really without using personally identified information such as demographics or people's phone or face images. Right? And opportunities in social work practice. So there are plenty. Right. So here we are very brief. We just mentioned a few. For example, in USC, Philip Villanos, I'm sorry, I couldn't pronounce the name, and Eric Rice from the USC Center for Artificial Intelligence in Society developed AI algorithms for equitable housing resource allocation. So the algorithm prioritizes individuals based on the factors such as age and health, etc., and as a way to improve fairness and efficacy in housing resource distribution. And our very own professor at the Brown School, Professor Patrick Fowler, together with Professor Sam Medas from George Mason University, created AI system to optimize resource allocation decisions for people experiencing homelessness. Right. So the AI simulation can estimate the outcome of different resource allocation scenarios. Basically, by simulating the outcome, the AI system can optimize and for effective and also fair distribution of shelter and food assistance, right? And of course, the long-term goal is to advise policymakers on system modifications to maximize impact of available resources. And the chatbot Ally, produced by the Institute for Creative Technologies, or ICT, in South California, they provide those virtual therapists for treating veterans with PTSD and depression. So the chatbot can identify nonverbal cues, for example, gestures and face expressions, and are used to train to provide encouraging prompts and simulate therapist actions. And then, not the least to mention, chatbot Test, which is a very popular chatbot, produced by a startup company in Silicon Valley. It has been around for a few years. So the chatbot can provide mental health care and psychosocial therapy by interacting with people through multiple mediums. So definitely check out their website if you're interested in TESS, a mental health consulting chatbot. Right. So we've covered a lot of applications, but they are only, I would say, the tip of an iceberg, right? There are many more that we don't have to introduce, and many more probably I do not know of, right? Because the technology and landscaping is changing so rapidly. But then, although, well, the AI look very bright, there's just burgeoning at fantastic speed, we shouldn't take it for granted that we should, of course, acknowledge many challenges and limitations, right? So for the time being, we won't be able to dive too deep into the ethical issues, but as you can guess, there are many, right? And I look forward to the discussion on that in a few minutes. Okay. So regarding ethical issues here, I listed a few, right? But I think they are really essential, but there are many others that probably we can cover, right? So there are 8 of them. The first one, bias and discrimination. So the AI algorithms can perpetuate existing biases, leading to discriminatory outcomes, particularly against marginalized groups, right? And we worried about privacy and confidentiality because AI handles sensitive personal data. And we can have concern about data breaches and confidentiality of client information, right? And informed consent, right? We have a lot of problem with informed consent because, well, the AI tools, they just scrape data from the internet without our consent, right? And that is the reason why a lot of Microsoft OpenAI get sued, because people think they just use the data without their acknowledgement, without their consent, right? Accountability and transparency, right? Clarifying who is responsible for decisions made by AI systems and ensuring transparency in how these decisions are made, right? Because in a lot of cases, AI is a black box. Really no one how the AI make a decision and who is going to be responsible for that decision if some negative consequences is endured. And depersonalization of services. Yes, AI is a machine, and there is a risk of reducing the human element in social work, impacting the quality of client relationship, right? But no, we should put us aside on this, right? Because if we have enough individuals, we have enough social workers, then there shouldn't be a problem. But the problem is we don't have, right? So what is the second best choice? Over-reliance on technology. I've seen this many times, right? And in my teaching, some students are over-reliant on AIs to not supplement, but really to replace their critical thinking, which is a huge problem, right? We can go back to that in the discussion. Data security issues. Yes, there are a lot of data breaches, and impact on employment. We've heard this from the news, right? Though those big companies such as Google and Amazon, they use AI system to automatically screen and give a decision on whether you are employed or not, right? Which generate a lot of ethical concerns. Okay. And then, if you're interested in AI learning resources, we are proudly offer a lot of resources for you, either for free or if you want to engage, join our the programs. And those are the previous talks that I offered, a variety of talks. They are all available on YouTube. They are all open classroom talks that we discussed. For example, how to use ChatGPT to boost research productivity. We have 2 sessions just on AI ethics, and we have introduction to AI and the applications in obesity research, and they are just tons of materials that you can utilize if you like. Okay, so you can find us in our open classroom, the Brown School Open Classroom channel on YouTube to find more information. And we also proudly offer our artificial intelligence application. We call it artificial intelligence application for health data. Is an advanced learning certificate program. So the registration has ended for this year, but we are going to open next year. So in July, stay tuned if you're interested in joining us. So it is a very rigorous certificate program that we offer, and I am the instructor. So we are going to meet virtually for 15 weeks, and we meet 3 hours per week. And you are going to learn a lot about the practical side of AI and how to use AI to do research and in your profession. So for the first 2 weeks, we are going to cover the foundation of AI, including overview of AI and how to use Python to do programming, because Python is the language to do any AI-related research. Okay? And we are going to introduce the popular modules in Python. And after that, we are going to spend the next weeks 3 to 7 on machine learning, because machine learning is the fundamental to deep learning. So we learn machine learning first, from the very basic classification and regression task all the way to complex ensemble method that we assemble hundreds and thousands of models together to build state-of-the-art framework for machine learning. And you are going to learn other topics such as decision tree and supervised learning and dimensionality reduction. And then most excitingly, in weeks 8 to 15, we are going to focus fully on deep learning or neural networks, right? We are going to introduce neural network and then the major subdomains of neural network, including computer vision and natural language processing. Right. We are also going to talk about recommender system, time series forecasting, and synthetic data generation. So we have a full stack of materials that you can learn. And the program, and in terms of case studies, we are going to utilize a lot of case study examples, right? So students are required to do homework assignments on a weekly basis. And so here we listed a few of the many potential, many applications in the homework assignment. For example, diagnosing pneumonia from chest rays, monitoring proper mask wearing in public spaces, designing a question-answer chatbot for COVID-19 symptoms, identifying tweets, and differentiate natural versus human-made disasters in tweets, and create shareable synthetic data sets from confidential medical records. Okay, so there are a lot of applications. And the program is designed for those who have little to no programming experiences. Okay, so you won't have to have programming knowledge to attend this training program. But some basic introduction to biostatistics or statistics is required, because then you would have to build the fundamental to learn about machine learning. Okay. So if you're interested in the program, scan the QR code and leave a note there. And when our program opens next year, you are going to be notified. Okay, so that's all I want to present. I know we scrunch a lot of information. This is a very short talk, but I do want to leave the rest of the time for our discussion. So looking forward to that.
Thank you so much, Dr. An, for this wonderful presentation. I know that many of our participants already submit their comments and questions. You can still submit any questions right now, but we will go ahead and start addressing some of those questions. So one of the comments we have is that what has been presented up to doesn't worry me much, as participants would in every case know that they were engaging with AI. The big issue with AI, I gather, is that it can be so easily to be deceived. The next question is a question from Rosser. What he say is that
yeah. So sorry, Zizi, I want to briefly comment the previous I don't know, this comments or question. So very briefly, yes, I completely agree with you. And recently there was a famous case, right? So if some of you probably followed the news that sorry, I forgot exactly the name of that institution, but it's a non-for-profit institution that offer free mental health consultation to a large number of people in the U.S. They have about 3,000 volunteers to provide mental health consultation, of course, at a limited scale for those who cannot pay for the services. And the CEO of that nonprofit recently posted that they actually used large language models to power some of the conversations because they want to try out whether people can differentiate the large language model versus a real person, a real volunteer behind the scene. Two observations. First, of course, the CEO was greatly criticized for not disclosing information. So many people feel being cheated, right? So the outcry from their clients. But second, interestingly, they found that the people satisfaction, right, of using the AI tools, of course, without knowing that they are talking to AI, tend to have a higher level compared to those who interact with a real volunteer. Okay, I'll stop there. Okay.
Thanks for the comment. We actually have related questions from Ross. From my experience working in social work, it is evident that face-to-face contact has been the most beneficial way for clients and providers to build social emotional rapport and trust. So with the development of AI virtual reality training, are we expecting AI to mimic real-life emotions of patients? Are we expecting AI virtual training to be as beneficial as face-to-face training?
This is a great question. Thank you, Ross, for mentioning that. So, of course, the AI technology developing so quickly, and no one has a clear clue of what is going to be realized or what AI cannot do, right? So, at least for, I would say, the foreseeable future, I would say AI probably will not achieve the same level of emotion or carrying capacity compared to a real individual, and it may never be. But the question we ask is, we won't need it to be because we don't think AI are going to replace social workers or caring profession in general. AI are just tools that we can utilize to extend our limited resources to those underserved. Right. So now, if I ask, well, would be a patient better be cared by a devoted social worker or an AI tool? Of course, social worker, right? Everyone would vote for that. But no, the reality is the comparison whether this person is going to be cared by an AI tool or no one, right? Or nothing, right? Which one would you choose, right? So I think the AI tools are great in automating things, but of course, our human beings are more attached to other human beings, right? That's just, I would say, the nature of our human beings. So AI tools may never, even if they have super hyper intelligence, they still cannot be replaced, cannot replace individual because the caring is a human profession, right? So what AI could do is to extend the support and facilitate social workers and help those who otherwise will not be cared.
Thank you, Dr. An. So the next questions we have is that with the advent of GPT's custom versions of ChatGPT and their ability to combine instructions input knowledge and any combinations of GPT-4s exist functions, how do you perceive the influence of such technology on research? Moreover, could you share your insights on the anticipated distinctions in applications between AI tutor powered by GPTs and vector database such as Pinecone?
Yeah, this is a technical question, and I saw that Yui posted a question because Yui is my doctoral student, and she is asking a really technical question, right? But I don't want to bore the other people who are not as technical savvy. So a short answer is, many of you actually have used the custom version of ChatGPT. Basically, it was probably online for maybe a few days or maybe a week or so, and as a way that you can customize the GPT based on your need and your characteristics. Right? Previously, we say that ChatGPT does not know you, right? Because we are not president, we are not Taylor Swift, so we have very little footage on the website. On the internet, and because the ChatGPT and other language models are trained on the internet data, so though the model don't know us because they were not trained on our personal data. But on the other hand, though, if we can combine individual data with GPT, so we can harvest the power of both, right? So GPT knows you and may better understand your need and your request. So I haven't tested the customer version of ChatGPT myself. I think that is limited in terms of capacity. It is very easy to use though, because you can use natural language to interact with GPT to build your own customized GPT. But there's a limited storage, right? And limited information you can pass on to GPT. On the other hand, the vector databases provided by Pinecone or other vector databases are unlimited. So you can have millions of documents in there. It doesn't really matter, right? So in terms of capacity, I would say vector database is, I would say, still the way to go if you want to build highly flexible and powerful applications. On the other hand, if you want to build a quick customized language model with minimal effort, with minimal computation resources and technical knowledge, then I would say probably custom ChatGPT is the way to go.
Thanks, Dr. An. The next questions we have is that for clinicians training, where does AI pull the data from to stimulate a client?
Now, that's a great question, right? Because this is a business secret, right? So if you ask a startup where to get the data, they will not tell you, right? But underlying, I know that a lot of those simulation startups, they are powered up by large language models, right? It could be an open source language model as Llama 2 or Mistral, or open source models such as OpenAI or Anthropic or Cohere, right? And underlying, they probably, I would say, have databases, and you can actually have a reasonable guess, right? There might be a lot of transcripts, right? That are probably removed those individual identifiables, right, and used to fine-tune your model, or maybe they are using prompt engineering, as talked in my book, to instruct what the model to expect, right? And the underlying, they can build some individual characters, give them their basic social demographics, as well as the risk factors and risk behaviors and health outcomes, so that they have some ground truth compared to, right? So, in a nutshell, I don't know, because this is a business secret, but we can have some reasonable guess.
Thank you, Dr. An. I know we are almost at the end of the section, and then I'm going to save it for the last questions. So the questions from Yuan Yuan, what they say is that what methodologies can be employed to detect and mitigate unfair penalizations of marginalized group by AI system use, for example, in welfare eligibility screening?
This is another great question. Well, we don't have enough time to talk about this detail, But the short answer is that the model is only as good as the data used to train the model, right? If the data is fundamentally biased, of course the model is biased, right? And then the fundamental way is to make sure that the data used to train the model is unbiased, right? So that is the way we should deal with fundamentally. And of course, we can put guardrails, right? At OpenAI, they have a lot of guardrails around the language model so that language model doesn't really discriminate or provide those insulting languages, etc. Right? So there are different ways we can do that, but I would say the fundamental way we can make sure that the model is fair is to make sure that the training data is a fair representation and unbiased representation of client's population.
Thank you, Dr. An. I know there may be more questions coming up, but unfortunately, we are at the end of the program. I do just post Dr. An's profile in the chat, so if you have further questions and any comments you want to communicate with Dr. An in the future, you're welcome to contact Dr. An. And I want to say a really big thank you to all the Brown School colleagues working so hard behind the scene, and also want to thank you for joining us today, and we would love to see you in our future open classroom sections. So if you miss part of the program and want to see again, I know many of you want to have our slides, so you can check our Brown School Open Classroom webpage. We will post the recording within 72 hours on our Brown School webpage and also on our YouTube channel. And we'll also post the slides there as well. Thank you again for joining us. Any last comment from Dr. An?
Thank you so much, Zizi and Dale, for organizing this, and really nice to see all of you. If you have any questions, feel free to post us an email, and we'll have a meaningful discussion. And you are more than welcome to join our next open classroom. And thank you all. Take care. If I do not see any of you again before the Thanksgiving, enjoy the